Welcome to Hastings Outdoors, straight from the Mississippi Flyway to your hearts. Let's go! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hastings Outdoors. I am your host, Andrew, and as always, for those of you who haven't tuned in, this may be new, but for those of you who have listened to any episode whatsoever, I am coming to you not live from the Dream Building Garage, the garage where dreams are made, the Adventure Building Garage. Yes, my garage, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Come on in, have a seat. There's really not that many chairs, so if you're cool on the floor, that's great. Kick your feet up, relax, take your shoes off if you want to. As always, if your feet stink, sit down and wind. And please, for everyone in your life, if your feet stink, go get some foot spray, man. Go see a doctor. It is 2023. Like, you're out here walking around with trench foot, making everyone in your life miserable. Like, oh, work hard. No, go take care of that. Anywho, getting sidetracked, folks. But welcome, come on in. Welcome to the Hastings Outdoor Studio, guys. Here we go. I've been messing around with the audio, and I'm trying to make sure that the audio as well as the video is on par for this podcast. And I do apologize for the last episode. I forget something was out of adjustment. And so it sounded really half the time. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully the content was good. It got a little heartfelt at the end for me. And just a fuzz of a recap here. I was happy to take time to kind of share a little bit of my life experience with you guys, and talk about one of my heroes. And if you get a chance, go back and check that out. And I do apologize, guys. The audio, for whatever reason, I think maybe the gain was adjusted a little bit wrong, or setting on the recorder was whatever. Something was out of adjustment. I spent some time to rectify that situation here. So hopefully, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, this podcast will sound better. So, as always, I like to start with project updates. I'm sorry, guys. I think it's been like 3 or 4 episodes. I don't know. It's been too many episodes that I've been mentioning that, hey, I need to fix this panel blind I made. Still haven't done it yet. I've been super busy. God comes first, my wife, then my family. And after that, it's any little bit of extra time, if I have any, it's put towards the outdoors, hunting and stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong, I do love the outdoors. I am passionate about the outdoors, but my list of priorities, I'm not going to change it. So it is what it is. However, I do have time. There's no rush. I'll get it. I think, man, I'm not sure when the next time I'll be able to get out and go hunting is, but hopefully soon. And I'll get into a little bit of an update about that, because I spoke about that again the last time. But I'm gonna kind of update you guys on my plans for that here soon. So I got to modify that blind, make sure those legs aren't dangling down, tripping me on corn stalks, and trying to kill me in the pitch black of cornfields. Also, make sure I can fasten them so they're not swinging all loosey goosey. That's it for project updates, guys. As far as season prep goes, not much in the way of that. I've got to adjust my set a little bit, adjust the decoys I have rigged up. As of right now, it's still set up for early teal season. That ended up being pretty much a wash for me. I just couldn't find birds in many of the areas I can hunt around me, and it's all public, so that's all I got. Since there weren't birds and I couldn't find anything, then I just decided, hey, you know what? Just quit wasting time. I can go hunt dove and stuff right now, and that's what I did. So season prep for right now is really the only thing I need to do is I'm going to go over my gear one more time, and I'm going to check everything out, make sure that it's good to go, and then change my decoy rigs a little bit, and make it a little less teal centric and a little more mallard centric, and add probably some woodies in there. I'm still debating on that, guys. Still debating on that. I'm not sure. But I'm going to mix it up a little bit, make it look as realistic as possible. I mean, they are plastic decoys after all, and they look great. So shout out to Final Approach for their decoys. Actually, there's a box over here. Yeah, you can't see it. It's off screen, but I got the Last Pass Canada Goose floaters and a various array of final approach as decoys, and they all look relatively awesome, at least to me. So if you guys are wanting decoys and aren't gonna break the bank, you still have, at least for the northern zone, especially. I mean Indiana. If you're in this area, I should say. I don't know about everybody else because I don't check it. But in this area, you've got about a month to go. Just a little over a month to go here. And so, a tidbit for you guys. I bought them all through Rogers Sporting Goods, their website. They have they usually have free shipping over X amount, and from what I saw this past summer and leading into fall, they have the best prices on decoys, hands down. And man, these final approach, I got every single set of decoys I bought was on sale, and definitely worth it in my opinion. But I'm not sponsored by them guys. It'd be cool if it was, but hey, maybe someday. That's just my advice for you guys. Nobody's paying me to say that, so there's that, right? No, okay, whatever. Anywho's and because that's it for season prep, guys. The only thing, I mean, I shouldn't say the only thing. My primary focus right now is dove hunting. I may potentially maybe get after some squirrels yet again, but I'm not sure. But dove is definitely on my radar. Wing shooting, I've always been fascinated by it, and so that's definitely on my radar of what I want to do as far as hunting goes. And as of right now, I have until October 15th. I'm recording this. The day doesn't really matter to you guys because it's not going to air for a couple of days. So the last week of September, there you go. So I've got a couple more weeks of dove until it closes temporarily and then reopens. Blah blah. But yeah, by the time it reopens, it's going to be duck season. So well, the doves are safe for me because the ducks aren't. Well, if they get close enough. That's the yeah, you guys know. The problem with ducks is you got to get them close enough to shoot, and if they're not close enough to shoot, then they're pretty much safe anyway, unless somebody else is way better at than I am, which is probably a very good possibility. Anywho, not trying to put myself down, so if you guys are worried about that, don't worry about that. I know who I am. I'm pretty secure in that, and yeah, what you see is what you get, folks. This will be my second duck season ever, and I learned a lot in my first season. I borderlined on Forrest Gump with that. I learned a lot. Um, but I learned a lot in my first season, and I have several episodes discussing that. I think like the birth of a waterfowl obsession, something like that. And there's a couple more. I think I don't know. I can't remember, guys. I can't remember what episode this is. 30, 31, somewhere around there. I don't know. I'm just having fun. It's a hobby, and I like to share my experience and all that good stuff with you guys and tips and tricks I've learned along the way. That's pretty much it. I'm not an expert. I'm not a pro, and I'm just a regular dude, just like most of the people I hope are listening to this. If not, that's who it's intended for. So if you know a blue collar dude who likes to work, likes to hunt, um, maybe share the podcast with him. That'd be cool. Thumbs up, guys. Yeah, yeah. All right, whatever. Moving on. So that kind of sums up the projects and season prep. I like to start with that, guys, because if anyone's actually paying attention to this whatsoever, all four of you listening, or whoever it may be, could be 1,000. I don't know. I don't really check it that often. I just keep putting out content. But for those of you who are enjoying the show or watching the show, partaking of the show, whatever it may be, I like to start with that. And so that being said, um, I might get out there for some squirrels once again. I'm not sure. It all depends on the doves and the birds I see in the area. And so if I start seeing more birds in the area, well, those little limb benders are okay. They're gonna be safe, at least for me. Might be some old timers out there that I would warn them about, but other than that, I think they're good. I'm honestly not that sure how many people really hunt squirrel in this area. That seems to be there's a lot of things that come and go and kind of phase in and out as far as hunting goes. When I was a young man, there seemed to be a lot more people, and I mean in my childhood, there seemed a lot more people that still got after some squirrels every now and then. And when I was growing up, just a tidbit for you guys, I'm talking about species and hunting certain species, phasing in and out. When I was growing up until the time I was probably in high school, if you knew someone who turkey hunted, that person was a borderline psychopath. And I say that in jest, but uh, for those of you who know, at least for the majority of the country, and specifically in the area of northern Indiana and kind of Indiana as a whole, turkeys, man, if you saw turkeys or saw a good place to hunt turkeys, well, then you found the world's last remaining unicorn, and yeah, I never saw wild turkeys growing up. Period. It wasn't until towards the end of probably high school, college range. So the later thousands, mid to late thousands, whatever you're gonna call it. So 2010, 11ish, somewhere in that ballpark is when I genuinely started seeing more turkeys and turkey sign. Nowadays, and I'm 100% positive that this is in part largely to the Indiana DNR and conservation groups like the National Wild Turkey Federation Foundation, whatever it is. I don't want to butcher that, but hey, you guys know what I'm talking about. Um, but conservation efforts have helped the wild turkey populations flourish in this area. The only downside is you got to have property to hunt them, so I'm still working on that. I've actually never hunted turkey, and I intend to sometime, at least just once, to do it. Um, that's kind of my goal. Is I want to try to hunt every huntable species, at least in my area. I'm not going for that North American Grand Slam or whatever that kind of stuff is. I mean, that'd be cool, but to be honest with you guys, I really don't care to travel all that much. I like taking trips and stuff like that and vacation when I can. But as you guys may be well aware by now, if you have any kind of clue what's going on with the economy and stuff like that and whatnot, for blue collar working folks, vacations, hmm, yeah, that's probably not on the horizon, or at least likely to be for a while. Oh man, wet my whistle with agua. Okay, so yeah, focusing on dove. Sorry, I got off on a rabbit trailer with the hunting species. Maybe I'll just roll. I'll roll back into that, guys. We'll just beep 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 back up, roll into that. So, like I said, growing up, turkey hunters, I didn't know any. There were some old timers that I kind of knew that they had a fan on their wall or something like that, and that was about it. It was kind of crazy because it seems like my grandfather's generation. Man, I forget what generation that actually would be. Oh, whatever generation preceded the baby boomers. Man, I'm horrible about that. I do apologize. So whatever generation preceded the baby boomers, that generation they seem to, um, great depression babies essentially. They seem to really, I don't know, hunt more species than we hunt now. And so like squirrel hunting in my childhood, it was still kind of a thing. There was a lot of people talked about it and stuff like that that I ran into and stuff like that, or people that whatever. And rabbit hunting was one of those too. People still got after rabbits, and a lot of small game hunting. It seemed to be more popular, but I think here recently, there I'd say within the last 10 to 15 years, there's been a big push, and I think a lot of social media, obviously, and then also even traditional forms of media like the hunting videos that you could see on what Outdoor Channel and stuff like that. I think there's been a big push towards big game hunting. As far as whitetail deer, mule deer, elk, that kind of thing. There's been a very big push and rise in popularity of that. The only problem is there hasn't been a rise in land to do that on, and unfortunately here in the Midwest and especially Indiana, there's not. The public land is a fraction, a small fraction of land here in Indiana. So, um, but yeah, it's kind of crazy if you guys aren't in the hunting world or haven't been, then I don't know. It's kind of crazy to look back over my lifetime and see trends that I've seen come and go. But I'm getting on such a weird rabbit trail talking about rabbit hunting. But anywho, so any of you guys out there that still get after those furry little limb benders, what I used to call them, North American. What did I call those? I used to have this goofy nickname for them. Like North American tree dogs or uh, North American rat monkeys, something like that. Back in the day, anywho, it's not important. So squirrels, guys. For those of you who like squirrel hunting, stay tuned because right about meow, I'm gonna transition. I really don't like that sound, but it's fun to use. Anywho's McCalls it. So in the last episode, I said, guys, that I had planned to take my grandfather's excuse me. Man, gotta clear my throat. Hang on, hang on. All right. I was gonna take my grandfather's single action 16 gauge shotgun, my late grandfather's gun. I was gonna take it out and go try some squirrel hunting and see what I can come up with. And not to dive too much into the last episode, and I do apologize, but this message needs to be dealt with. So, and you're good. All right. And but not to apologize, or geez, what I'm just all over the place. Not to apologize for apologizing, guys, but I'm gonna apologize here. It's been one of those days. Been one of those days. Anywho, man. So I talked about taking my grandfather's 16 gauge out, and I talked a little bit about him because in the last episode I discussed that about a week ago or so now I went out after some dove and decided to kind of squirrel hunt because the dove action was just meh. And as I was walking about the woods and just really exploring on walkabout, taking in nature, and really just in awe and appreciation of creation. I was thinking as I was walking around looking for squirrels and you know that kind of thing that man, I really wish my grandpa was here with me. I don't really know much about the hunting he did when he was a younger man, but I do know he squirrel hunted, and I do know he liked to run coon dogs and tree those little trash pandas. After that, I don't know much, but I did mention that I miss him and I love him dearly, and I wanted to, kind of in honor of him and in remembrance of him, I should say, get out there, take that old gun out, and try to get some squirrels. And for those of you who have been paying attention to the to the studio here, if you look to the other side over here, I kind of forgot about this. One thing my grandpa liked to do, and I don't know why he liked to do it, he would save squirrel tails. Usually he'd like nail them up to the rafters in his old shed or something like that. He'd hang them up somehow. I don't really know the ins and outs of it, guys, but I do remember he did this and let them dry out. He also liked antlers too. But so spoiler alert, it's hanging right there. So man, that was probably last Friday or so. I just Thursday night after I think after recording that podcast, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna get out there and do it. And so that's what I did. I woke up well before sunrise, drove out to public land, and took that 16 gauge and a couple fistfuls of shells, and got out in the woods before daybreak. Really, it was super dark when I got out there. I think I got out a pinch too early, but that's okay. I'd rather be early than late. And the area I hunted, I hadn't actually hunted before. I'd briefly been to those woods, I think one or two times, but I never hunted it. But it's public land, and it's a cool little area. It doesn't see a lot of traffic, but it does see traffic. And I decided, hey, I'm gonna go look. I hadn't scouted, I hadn't looked at anything, and I followed a deer trail through the woods, a nice worn deer path, and I think for the first good 100 yards of that or so, people have used that pretty heavily, and so I just kind of followed that along. Just a little tiddly bit of information for you guys. If you guys do want to go squirrel hunting, get out there early, or get out there in the afternoon. Try to be as quiet as possible. Squirrels' sense of hearing is actually their number one defense when it comes to predation. Not so much their eyesight, which I don't know much about their eyesight, but I do know that they can hear pretty well. And man, it sounds like some ag equipment is cruising down the road here. But so I was walking this deer trail, and I just stopped for a little bit because it was I was hearing some rustling, kind of to my left, to my 2 o'clock ish range, and I couldn't see yet, and so I just stopped. I stopped under a small sapling, and just waited for sunrise. And once it finally got light enough that I could see by natural light. Um, I just kind of waited and I was watching, and every once in a while, a handful of trees over, probably 25 or 30 yards away, I would catch a limb bouncing, and I couldn't make out what it was because obviously, guys, um, as of right now, a lot of the leaves, especially maples, have started to turn in Indiana, but they haven't started to fall. So there's still a lot of coverage up in the treetops and stuff like that. So it's still kind of hard to really spot those squirrels just yet, unless there's movement. And so I just kept watching. I waited for probably a good 15, 20 minutes or so, and eventually, one of those little squirrels uh, made its appearance, and I didn't even think about it. I just drew, shot, boom, one in the bag. So that was pretty cool. I was pretty stoked about that. I was pretty happy about that. Um, just using my grandfather's gun, and just doing something that he enjoyed doing. It was awesome. And then after that, I kept slowly cruising through this wooded area. And pardon me, guys, I have some allergies or something, so I need to make some noise here. All right. And so I just kind of kept following this trail, and I found actually it's kind of a managed ish property. It's not groomed by any means, but there was a bit of an access road, and I'm not sure what for. And I wouldn't say much of an access road. If you try to take a full size pickup truck down it, you are going to be clearing a path. But if you took a side by side down it, it's not that bad. It's a little bit bigger than a four wheeler, but a side by side is about the max you could really clear on this road. And so I just kind of walked down that. There's woods to my left. There's some trees there, but a field on the other side, so not much density of trees there. And so I'm watching the tree line to my left and just moving nice and slow, looking for branches moving, looking for branches moving. And then, off in the distance, probably a good 75 yards or so away, I hear some squirrels just getting rowdy. And I'm like, okie dokie, here we go. I'll give it a whirl. And so I just stop and listen and watch. And I still hear the noise. And it was a couple of, it turns out it was a couple of males that were just kind of having a dispute, I guess. But so I kept working my way towards them. I got within about 30-ish yards, and I see one run out a limb and just kind of pause and drew up, boom, got him, and the other one runs off, and I tried to take a shot, but as I swung, he grabbed a different branch, and that one was no go. So boom, I got two. That's awesome. That's more than I expected for the day. An untouched, unseen area, and within the first 30 minutes or 35 minutes, whatever daylight, I've got two squirrels. So that was cool. And in that area, there were still two squirrels in that area, but they after that first shot, they just kind of they either went back to their nest or just dug in somewhere. And so I didn't see them, and so I waited around for a little bit just to see if they would move again. And yeah, I said, what the heck? The sun's not getting any lower in the sky, not yet. And so I just kept moving. And I walked a good ways. I walked probably good, I don't know, mile and a half or so down this little path, and I found a chunk of woods that was about halfway between um, where I dove hunted a while back last week. I talked about that a little bit in the last episode, and then where I started this this day. And I just walked in a little bit, and all I saw was tall oaks, a couple of hickories, and a couple of sycamores, but mostly just tall oaks, and not a lot of undergrowth, which is a good thing, because it's nice to have a little bit of cover. It is. However, it's also nice to be able to walk around and not have to watch every single step you make, with laser focus, so you don't step on a branch, you don't step on something, you don't make noise, so you can move relatively quiet through here, and be able to get close enough to make a shot. But I'm walking along the edge of this little path, and then I get 10 yards into the tall canopy because from where I walked down, and it was kind of younger growth. It was still mature trees, but the oaks, obviously, they're massive. And so when I got to where the taller trees were, about a mile and a half out, um, I got probably 20 yards or so into the canopy there, and boom, squirrel, got it. Okay, great. Waited around just a minute more, and I was like, okay, well, I'm just listening. You know, after gunshot, things have to settle for a minute or two before you start seeing action again. And so I used that time to just relax, gather the squirrel, be quiet, and then I just started to move a little bit more, stop, listen, move a little bit more, stop, listen, and then about another 20 yards, boom, another one. I'm like, okie dokie. So now I'm up to four. That was beyond my expectations, and so I was like, well, I'm gonna hang out in this area a little bit, and I decided to dip into the wooded area to the east. I was facing south, so to the east, and I just make my way in there a little bit, and within a matter of minutes of me just kind of making my way in there and stopping, it was crazy because it was just like acorns dropping everywhere, just boom, 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 boom. And there wasn't much wind that day, and I'm like, well, that's a good sign. Not enough wind to drop acorns, and I'm in tall oaks, and there's bound to be squirrels in here. And so I kept looking, kept watching, and I did end up seeing a handful of squirrels in that general area within a very close space, I thought. But it must have been just a feeding area because I didn't see too many nests. I saw nests further away, but not in this general area. And so if I do go back, I'm not going to tell anyone where this is, but I'm probably going to go back there and see what happens. But so I walk around there a little bit, and I see a squirrel in the distance, you know, just bouncing a limb and moving on and stuff. So I make my way towards it, and within a matter of good 20, 30 minutes, I made my way close enough to where I last saw it to get a shot, and waited probably another 5, 10 minutes. And then boom, squirrel pops up, got it. So I'm up to five. Oh, and the rain just kicked in, guys. That's cool. We've been needing rain here. I guess the farmers maybe aren't too happy about this because everything's starting to dry, but I don't know. It'll work out. Rain's good. Anywho, so same thing. I keep walking. I push in a little bit further. I don't see anything, so I back up a little bit, and then I happen to catch another squirrel shortly after that, and boom, got six. And that's when the woods kind of went quiet, and this was approaching probably 10:30, and so I didn't see squirrels on the forest floor by any means, because I was anticipating them. You know, as the day goes on, you know, they'll be active in the trees, but you know, as the day goes on, they'll probably be down trying to bury and collect the acorns they dropped. But man, it just shut off, and so I was like, all right, cool. Made my way back, kind of hunted my way back, and then that was about it, guys. But it was a great time nonetheless. It was really satisfying to me to get out there with my grandpa's gun, and I honestly, there's nothing special about this gun other than the fact that it was my grandpa's. He loved it. He used it a lot, and I was fortunate enough to receive it. And I'm not very sentimental. I've said that so many times, and I'm not very sentimental about a lot of things. There's not a lot of possessions, I should say, that I couldn't get rid of. But that's definitely one of them. And Lord willing, someday I can pass that on too. But yeah, it was just a super enjoyable time. And if you guys ever get the chance to do something like that, I strongly encourage it. And these headphones are making my ears about the temperature of the sun right now. But I strongly encourage you guys to get out there and do that. And it was just a good time, an overall good time. And as you can see, kind of said spoiler alert earlier, but there's six tails hanging there, and I have no desire to do anything with those tails, but why not? Why not? But I'm gonna take a drink now, guys. A little parched. So to give you guys a little bit of information about my grandfather's gun that I received, that is now mine. Um, it's a Ward's Hercules Model 10 16 gauge. It is 2 3/4 inch chamber only. I don't even think they had 3 inch when this thing was made. Um, but I don't know much about it. I really don't. And the information I found online says it could have been made by a brand I didn't even recognize, or Stevens back in the day. But if any of you guys has any if any of you guys has any information, if any of you guys have any information about that or something like that, please, by all means, please contact me. I'd love to get more information about this. But it's really nothing fancy, guys. I mean, I don't know how old it is, but I know it's old. And at the time, I don't think it was the fanciest shotgun, and as of right now, realistically, I don't think it has any kind of amazing monetary value whatsoever. I think they made a lot of them, but to me, it's worth more than money could buy. So can't put a dollar sign on memories. You just can't. But it was nice, and to be honest with you guys, I know my grandpa took good care of his stuff, and as best he could, and I'm really surprised that there isn't really anything that wrong with that gun, just because of the age. The ejector still works just fine. There are no issues with the hammer and the pin. It pops shells just fine, and as far as the lever to actually break it down, eject the shell, and load it and all that, works great. There's a little bit of slop to it, but it does work just fine. Trigger's nice and smooth, and I can see why my grandpa liked that gun. After getting some shells downrange on some squirrels, I can see why my grandpa liked that gun. And it as far that's the only 16 gauge I've ever shot. And just a little bit of information: if you guys have never shot a single shot break action style shotgun, be warned, depending on the gauge you're shooting, the felt recoil of those, it's not that pleasant. There is nothing in the way as far as recoil management, other than you leaning and holding on and bracing for impact, that's going to save you from that recoil. I have a single. Oh man, here comes a funny story. A funny story about me and old Alamo back in the days, man. I actually, oddly enough, it's yet another gun that I was gifted from my grandfather. I believe I got it for my 16th birthday, and oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I apologize, guys. I just got stumped on the brand. Let me see if I can Google it real quick. I think I know what it is, but I don't really want to put my foot in my mouth just yet. Try not to make a habit of that, but it happens nonetheless. Okay, Google. Yeah, it was an H&R Partner, and I don't know the specific model, but it was a 12 gauge uh, single shot break action 12 gauge shotgun, and I got that for my 16th birthday. I was pretty excited about that. That was the first 12 gauge I ever got, and God bless my grandpa for that, because like, again, guys, it's nothing fancy, and honestly, I really don't care about the price. Those guns aren't anything crazy valuable or expensive, I should say, and but to me, it's cherished, it's loved, it's super appreciated. And back up a step, the only other single action I have, or break action, I should say, is also from my grandfather, and I think I received it for my 6th birthday, and that was an H&R, I believe, the Partner as well, 410. And so a lot of history there with my grandpa and that action or style of gun. And but to give you a little funny story here about old Alamo, I don't remember the end of the story, but I remember the gist of it, so we're going to wing it, guys. And I'm sure Alamo, if he remembers as much as I do, we can kind of mumble it together. And who knows, maybe I'll have him on the podcast sometime in the near future, and we can kind of hash out the details of this, because it's been a while. But I believe, I don't even remember how it ended up, but we ended up going to the gun range, the public gun range close-ish to us. And man, I don't know if you guys can hear that on the microphone or not, but that rain is coming down. Down. Yeah, sorry. I was pausing briefly to see that when I play back this episode to see if it picks it up on the mic. I highly doubt it, but it'd be cool. But so we went to the public gun range closest to us, and I can't remember what I took. By this time, I believe I had more guns than that. I think I took the 22 that I have, I also received from my grandfather. I believe that was for Probably my 18th birthday or so, somewhere around there, and it is, I should say. I forget the specific. I forget the. If I can talk today, guys. I forget the specific model of it, guys, but it is a Winchester, and brace yourselves. It is a Winchester pump action 22. It's chambered for 22 long rifle. Um, I don't know. Haven't looked much into it, but yeah, that was another one I got. So I took that 12 gauge. I think I had a Remington 870 I took with me, and I might have had at that time. Oh my gosh, I forget the model of this one because this gun has come and gone long since. But it was a 270 bolt action, nothing fancy, nothing really expensive. And so we just went to the gun range to have fun, and we may have had pistols then. I really don't know. That's not the point of the story. Long story short is, when I was getting ready to go to the range, I decided, hey, why don't I just throw all kinds of random shotgun ammo that I have in here? So I had a lot of high brass, had a lot of slugs. I didn't have any buckshot because, to be honest with you, that's pointless for me. I can't really use it for anything other than self-defense. But a lot of target load, a lot of shells. Of course, they're shells because it's a shotgun. A lot of slugs, I should say, and some high brass loads, stuff like that, but nothing too crazy. And so somehow along the way of us shooting, I decided, hey, let's have a contest to see who can shoot slugs out of the single shot break action 12 gauge the longest, and whoever wimps out first is the loser. Now, that being said, I do believe Deer Alamo went first. And I don't remember the count of rounds, guys, but we got deep into the rounds. And I do remember that I think Alamo, don't quote me on this. We'll have the results later. But I do believe that Alamo was the first to give up. And rightfully so, because I think for a while after that, both of us had bruised shoulders. And yeah, it made it really hard to And so, um, long story short, I got super long winded on that. If you guys do somehow get one of those break action shotguns, and you're not familiar with shotguns, word to the wise, they kick. Um, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I have tried several things. I actually, years ago, I got a break action rifle 20 gauge for deer hunting. Um, and had a scope on all that stuff. And the recoil on those things and the vibration of those things is such to where within probably a half a dozen shots downrange trying to sight this thing in with, I can't even remember what ammunition I was using, whatever Sabot rounds I was using, or Sabot if you really want to be fancy. I can't remember which ones I was using, but I do know that within probably 5 or 6 rounds, the recoil had floated that reticle, and I couldn't hit anything. And it took me a while to figure it out because I never experienced that really before. I knew what it was, I knew how it happened, but I absolutely could not figure it out. And finally, I ended up putting a Bushnell scope on there. I forget what it was. Oh my gosh, guys, I am so horrible about recalling information now. Bushnell Banner. I forget the power of it, but they're pretty hardy scopes. They're etched reticles. I think most of them are, if not all of them. And that way you don't get a floated reticle. But put that on there, got it dialed in. But man, the recoil on that thing was, even at the 20 gauge, after a while, it got old. It wasn't fun. And so I think I even got one of those little I think Limb Saver makes one, a recoil pad, and I tried that, and that was the worst decision I ever made because yeah, it lessened the felt recoil in my shoulder, but at the same time it allowed the gun to move so that I could never get it dialed in, and so I just said the heck with it, and I think I actually ended up selling that to another buddy for pretty much nothing, and I said, hey man, this is the problem I had with it. They're going to legalize rifles pretty soon. If you're interested, make me an offer. And that's the way that one went. But just to let you guys know, they are great guns. They're pretty stinking reliable, and they're fun. But if you are new to shotguns, probably not the go-to, at least in my opinion. But the price range ain't bad, so at least you know what you're getting into now. That's all I can say. But yeah, guys. So that being said, I had a great time squirrel hunting. I was just imagining I was hunting with my grandpa and just thinking about him the whole time and just having a good time. It was a good day. It was a blessing to me to get out there, and a blessing to me that I could use that gun and in remembrance of him, get out there and do something he loved to do. But the torch has since passed, and not to dive down a philosophical, heartfelt rabbit hole here, guys, but it was really satisfying and rewarding and just an absolute blessing. And I'm honored to have that shotgun. But that being said, guys, I might try to get out there and get some more squirrels. I don't know, but as of right now, I'm focused on doves, and maybe in the future, thanks to Tallahassee, and a good shout out to Tallahassee. Unbeknownst to him, I don't think he really knew what he found when he found it. But I received a text message about sunflower fields the other day from Tallahassee, and I said, "Hey, man, we got to hunt that." And so I found some large sunflower fields. Well, he did, I should say. And I went and checked them out, and I tried to track down the owner. But oddly enough, guys, this is the craziest thing that's happened to me, and this is a new experience. I found the owner's information on the onX app, and Tallahassee was actually kind of quintessential in pointing me in a decent direction because the farm I went to shared the same name. However, within literally a mile or so of each other, there are two families with the same name that aren't related somehow, and I'm still trying to track down the owner. But the dude, I am so tongue-tied today, I can't even think. But the person I spoke to, they were gracious enough to inform me of that, and very polite nonetheless. And so that was cool. You never want to get run off someone's porch just for asking something, but I guess depends what you ask. So be smart. So the search continues, guys, and I am also along with working on trying to track down the owner of that and just ask them if I could hunt that for dove. I got closer to finding information on talking to a landowner that has a decent-ish private pond on his private property outside of city limits that seems to be holding waterfowl pretty well. So, fingers crossed, guys. Lord willing, the creek don't rise. I'll have more information on that in future episodes, or hopefully the next episode. That'd be cool too. And always keep my eye on the power lines as I'm driving around certain areas, especially areas where I am able to hunt for dove, and looking forward to more of that up until obviously October 15th when it stops for the first time. And then after that, from the 15th until October 28th, switching gears and getting everything buttoned down and ready for duck season. I'm ready for duck season. I really am. Dove season is nice. I like shooting them. I don't mind eating them. I'm still working on getting enough for making some kebabs for my wife. But it just doesn't compare to duck season, guys. It really doesn't. So, not to get too long-winded and make this a super long episode, I'm getting close to my kind of guideline time frame that I have for myself. But stay tuned for more information, guys, more updates, all that stuff. If you guys want to help out, check out Patreon. If you don't feel like donating, that's cool. I really don't care. But also check out, do me a huge favor, check out social media, all that stuff. And as always, guys, I will try to keep you informed, keep you updated. I really appreciate you guys listening. I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you later. Check out Hastings Outdoors on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening.